What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? I appreciate you guys so much for being here. And today I want to talk about possible incoming riots. Of course, we don't support this at all. We don't support destroying our own communities and businesses and lighting stuff on fire. We do not support that here. But I just want America to be prepared because it looks like Kenosha's getting prepared. They're bracing for the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, and they're, I guess, employing or deploying the National Guard troops to Kenosha. And I doubt if it catches on in Kenosha, I doubt it will stop there. I would imagine a lot of these big liberal cities will also join in on the violence and destruction. And recently, this is just like a Newsweek headline, but it's everywhere. New York City Black Lives Matter threatens bloodshed riots in city if anti-crime units reinstated. So I guess now New York City has a black Democrat mayor. His last name, I believe, is Adams, Mayor-elect Eric Adams, and he's already being pretty much threatened, or black. I don't know, if blackmail is the right word, but threatened in riots and bloodshed if he keeps his campaign promise of reinstating a controversial undercover anti-crime unit. So that's what's going on, folks. That's what the story is. And I want to say, as things are coming in, two things. The first thing is, I have a 30-second short. Sometimes people say, Anomaly, you talk too much. All you do is ramble on and on and on in your live streams. You know, you get to the point, you talk too much. I would have to say I agree with you. And if you want to not hear me talk so much, there's two options. It's my TikTok and my Instagram, instagram.com/dreamrare, tiktok.com @dreamrare. Find me on Instagram, dreamrare, and TikTok. Over 3 million views on my 30-second shorts in the last 24 hours. So if you want to hear me shut up, I don't blame you. I got Instagram and TikTok for shorter versions of what I'm saying right now. So we got all things variety. It's like a candy store. If you don't like that candy, you take that candy. You know, you don't got to be here. Some people sit here and they're like, all right, dude, I don't want to listen to you talk. And I'm like, bro, it's not a mandate. You know, I'm not mandating that you're being here. I'm not like the psycho government Biden administration. You could click the X button. It's not like I'm like, listen to me rant. It's like, trust me, some days I don't even want to listen to myself. So if you don't want to, just click the X button. But also TikTok, Instagram, 30-second shorts. But before we talk about the possible incoming riots, I want to tell people a pattern of what happened. It's a 4-step pattern, and this really happened in reality. First, the government locked down our country, right? You had almost every governor doing it. It was a lockdown, and they said, you know, we need businesses to lock down. Remember that? Step one. Everybody needs to lock down. Restaurants, businesses, Walmart could stay open, and Target and grocery stores, but your mom and pop shop, your restaurant needs to shut down, and Uber Eats or whatever. So hundreds of thousands of restaurants and millions of small businesses got crippled, went out of business. This was devastating to small businesses in this country. It was one of the craziest forced economic destructions of America. The stock market crashed. Like I said, millions of mom and pop shops were affected. Okay, that happened, right? Nobody's really talking about it. For some reason, it's not a social justice thing. If you're Black, Hispanic, white, Asian, doesn't matter. This affected you, or this affected your community. Lots of people lost their favorite restaurant, their favorite coffee shop. So that happened, right? Nobody's talking about it in the liberal media because for some reason they don't seem to care. They like that type of stuff. They're like, more lockdowns. Okay. Then you had the George Floyd situation in which celebrities were bailing people out of jail when there were riots, right? There's riots, there's burning. There are some peaceful protests, obviously, but clearly I lived in Los Angeles. It was havoc. Everybody saw it, and it wasn't like a one-time thing where you were confused. Every day it was like clockwork, burning things, burning things, burning things. And the media was brainwashing people into thinking it was a good idea to burn down businesses, or it was okay and acceptable. They have mostly peaceful protests with a huge fire behind them. And they're not going to admit this, but they were kind of telling people, you know, this is justified. And all these crazy people who don't want you to do this, they don't understand racism. So let's follow before we get to number 3. They destroyed millions of small businesses with a lockdown. As soon as these businesses started opening up, they pretty much justified and defended you going out into your own neighborhood and community, and in some cases other neighborhood and communities, and burning down these remaining businesses and crippling and destroying these businesses that somehow survived the pandemic. So it's like this 2-pronged attack on businesses that they had, and nobody seemed to put those two together. They're like, I'm really angry at racism. So why are you burning down a tie shop that of somebody that can't do it? In LA, you had barriers going on all the doors and stuff. Everybody was afraid to come out. So they crippled businesses for months. In conservative counties, this didn't happen. These people didn't last 5 minutes. That's why I prefer living in a conservative county, because they actually love themselves. They love the country. They love businesses. They love their community. They don't just burn down their own community. So Government destroys businesses. Media that's serving a lot of these people brainwashes people into destroying more businesses. And then off the backs of the George Floyd riot, who benefited, folks? Let's be honest. Was it Minneapolis? Did Minneapolis get better? No. Did race relations in America get better? No. Did Black America get more prosperous and really gain a lot out of this? No. Did any of these communities get no? So who really benefited? If you look, I have a political article to back it up. You could Google this yourself. This is from July 1st. It says record cash floods Democrats, Black groups, and protests amid the pandemic. Act Blue, the online donation processor favored by Democrats and many left-leaning groups, smashed its monthly fundraising record in June, where they surged to almost over $392 million. So who benefited off of all the riots? I would say Democrat and liberal-leaning political groups. They made a fortune as your community burned to the ground, as you lost value, as you're getting, universal basic income checks and you can't even go out and do stuff. And then you had celebrities bailing people out of jail. And now you have, Kenosha bracing for this again. And then the Biden administration used, all that stuff to get into office. And what is he doing with his power? He's mandating it against businesses. So businesses got destroyed by the lockdown. Businesses got destroyed by the George Floyd riots. Record donations to Democrats. They use that money to get into power. And as soon as they get into power, they're telling Black people and white people, but in general, I'm just saying most Black youth doesn't want to get vaccinated in New York. And now they're telling you can't eat in a restaurant. And now they're telling businesses that were already crippled multiple times that they have to push more restrictions. So this is all destruction of the business and destruction of your community. I pray that people caught on to this little trick that they're doing, because once the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict comes in, the media is once again going to try to brainwash people into self-sabotaging their own racial group, their own neighborhood, their own community, and people are going to take the bait. I hope they don't, because I don't believe in violence and bloodshed. It's terrible. So let's see what happens, but Kenosha is bracing. Why are they bracing? It's because, whether they admit it or not, a lot of these media organizations and politicians, they're okay with what was going on. They're pretty much incentivizing it. If you go to San Francisco, they changed their rules to make it easier to steal from stuff from the store. And they make it so it's not as big of a crime as it used to be. People can't walk into certain banks without a mask on. I just talked to my buddy who's engineering my new track. He's a hip hop producer. He was like, dude, crime has to be surging, because like back in the day, they're like, yo, don't walk into a bank with a mask on. Now they're like, hey, sir, excuse me, can you put a ski mask on before you come in the bank? Like, that's how psycho our country is becoming. So all these stupid backwards policies that's incentivizing this stuff. And then you're a bad person if you speak against it. And then the Democrats act like they don't see it. So I can't say I agree with this, because I don't agree with threats and violence. Obviously, this is terrible. But I do have to say, for Democrats, this is this weird karma, because in New York City, Black Lives Matter is threatening bloodshed, riots in city if anti-crime units are reinstated. Let's read the article a little bit. This is Newsweek, by the way. Black Lives Matter of Greater New York leader Hawk Newsom said Wednesday there would be bloodshed and riots if Mayor-elect Eric Adams keeps his campaign promise of reinstating a controversial undercover anti-crime unit. Newsom made the comments following a meeting with Adams that was live streamed on Instagram. Although the two agreed on several points, they were clashing over the cops or whatever. And then he said, if they think they're going back to their old ways of policing, then we're going to take to the streets again, Newsom said to reporters outside of Brooklyn Borough Hall after the meeting. There will be riots, there will be fire, and there will be bloodshed. So this is the life. This is why I'm not envious. I'm not jealous. Those are not good things in general, but people are like, oh, do you envy the power of like the Democrats? It's like, no, these people, they live a total lie. So they're like Ted Wheeler in Portland. All he does is cave over to the far left. And then they still want to throw things at him and hurt him. It's like these people are living a giant lie. So this guy's a Democrat. He panders his way into office. And as soon as he gets in there, you got Black Lives Matter threatening their own political party because he's not far left enough. All these Democrat politicians, they're not stupid. They know you can't just defund and remove the police. These people want to live in a safe area. Nobody wants to live in these cities anymore because it's disgusting. It's dirty. Crime is on the rise. I'm sorry. I'm not this like cop shill that says, oh, cops are perfect. Some cops are good. Some cops are bad. In certain neighborhoods, cops are awesome. In other neighborhoods, cops suck. But the point being is like, is everything to blame on the cops? Oh, the cops are doing everything? That's not what's going on here in America. If you go to New York City, a lot of these neighborhoods are not safe because the citizens can't act right, and they, rob each other, loot each other, treat the deli owner and the barista like crap. And that's part of the equation. And all they want to say, it's 100% the police and 0% our fault. That's not true. The police play an equation, but it's not like the biggest part. I would say in New York, the police aren't the number one, number two, number three, number four, or number five problem. But if you want to act like they are, then you could just let your neighborhood go to crap and then threaten to burn things when you don't get your way. Oh yeah, that's really going to drive up the property value and make, some real winners move into your neighborhood, power. It's like, what these people lie to themselves so hard. So the Democrats, these people like Gavin Newsom, Adams, all like Ted Wheeler, in their head, they know that, yeah, we want police, we want security. Like, yeah, we don't want you to have guns, but we're going to walk around with security because we don't want to get hurt. So, but they say all these lies in order to get into office. Like, yeah, we're going to do this, this, this. And then like, I guess this guy has somewhat common sense. And he's like, listen, we need some sort of policing in these neighborhoods because it's not necessarily a bad thing. When New York became more safe in the 2000s, I'm not saying it was a perfect policy, but part of it is like, you have to identify that the problem is certain people that are not acting right. So either you let them just, raise the crime rate, or you get tougher. They got tougher and now they're getting weaker and crime's going up. It's not rocket science. So I guess this mayor knows that and it's like, sheesh, we got to bring some of this back. And they're like, oh, you want to bring that back? There's going to be riots. There's going to be bloodshed. And it's hard to feel bad for the Democrats, although I condemn this completely. These are the people that are incentivizing and teaching these people that it's okay to do that. I'm not going to blame Black Lives Matter because I don't think they're totally responsible. And I think they do some good things with the mandates, etc. But when the George Floyd riots happen, regardless of what you think about the George Floyd situation, regardless of if you think he did wrong or he should have got his act together or the police was guilty or the police was innocent, regardless of what you think about that, it makes no sense to burn down Santa Monica and burn down West Hollywood and burn down Minneapolis and riot through Atlanta and destroy a bunch of it. That doesn't make any sense. That's only making it worse. That's only proving your haters right, that you can't act right. It makes zero sense. And while they were doing all of that, you had Steve Carell and loser Seth Rogen, bailing people out of jail. You had Kamala Harris supporting these people who are doing that. You had the media telling them that it was okay. You had people saying, no, that's how you should act. That's good. That incentivizing this type of behavior. They're like, that's good. You had the NBA, the National Basketball Association. They put Black Lives Matter on their court after people did that. So it's like, with a kid or with an adult or a worker or whatever you want to say, like a relationship, a human relationship in any situation in this world, you reward bad behavior. They killed multiple people. They killed a retired Black police officer who was trying to, defend his pawn shop. They did billions of dollars worth of damages. They screwed over small businesses when small businesses needed help. They just wreaked havoc on these neighborhoods, made it worse, made race relations worse. And the NBA, one of the most powerful sports organizations in the world, puts it on the court and says, they don't say, hey, we're going to put Black Lives Matter on the court, but all this other stuff that you guys did, that's not good, but we believe in your message. They didn't say that. They just said, oh yeah, we're going to put it on the court. They didn't condemn it. They're incentivizing and they're justifying it. They're saying, yeah, that's fine. So the irony being, I feel bad, but at the same time, it's like, I don't go to New York City anymore. I love New York City. I love everything about it. I grew up around there. I've been there dozens of times. I don't step foot in New York City. I loved Los Angeles. I lived there for 8 years. I don't step foot in Los Angeles. I don't trust the Democrats. I don't like their mandates. I don't like their policing policies. They're living in Sodom and Gomorrah. They lie to their audience. They lie to their base. They lie to liberal Black groups. They lie to everybody. They know they're lying, but they know that we know that they're lying. They keep lying. And then they get like harassed by their own people because their group of people who vote for them are a bunch of degenerates. And I'm not saying everybody is, but in general, it's like, what type of crowd do you think that you're attracting? They say your vibe attracts your tribe. So, if you're like David Goggins or Tony Robbins, like what type of vibe are you putting out and what's your tribe? What type of people are gravitating towards you based on the message you're putting out? Democrats have the worst people surrounding them and in their cities. So it's like, what do they think's going to happen? These people think it's okay to just burn, 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 destroy, destroy, destroy. They don't have like a real plan. Okay, let's talk about policing reform. Okay, I agree. There could be some better policing. I'm not like a police shill, and I don't think police are perfect, but are you going to act like in certain neighborhoods there aren't just senseless murders, like the South Side of Chicago, parts of New York? I've been to parts of New York. I've been to parts of Bed-Stuy. I'm going to be honest, as somebody that's traveled the country quite often, I would never want to live there because people don't treat people right. It's not a desirable neighborhood. You go to the corner store, somebody threatens to kill you. They're threatening to kill the barista. This is not normal behavior. And I'm sorry, but this is not poverty. You can be poor and not act like a total degenerate and a total scumbag. So if that's how people are acting in these neighborhoods and it's like status quo, like, oh yeah, this is just what we do, we just blame the police. It's like, no good people are going to want to live there, and no people with money that can afford to not live there are going to want to live there. It's going to be like self-sabotaging liberal, wannabes who move here and they do yoga and they, they hold up the black fist, and then eventually they're probably going to leave too once they stop hating themselves. But in general, it's like has nothing to do with ethnicity or even politics. It's like no one wants to live in a community of people who treat everybody like crap, raise violence, there's crime all over the place. And then you look and say, so how are we going to fix this as a community, right? Regardless of who's here, men, women, this, that, how are we going to fix this? And you guys say, we're not going to fix it. It's the police's fault. We can't have crime units coming here. Okay, I agree with you. Let's take all the police out of your neighborhoods. Why do police even police these neighborhoods? In some cases, they don't, because they're not liked. They get shot there. Just leave these people and let them fight each other. It's like at a certain point, what's the point? Oh, we hate the police. Okay, peace. I'll go to a conservative neighborhood where people actually have front yards and they like each other and they treat each other well. And then you guys, once the police are out of the equation, people will realize, although they're not perfect, they're not a top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 problem in these neighborhoods. There's 99 problems, and that's not even one of them. One of the biggest ones I would say would be nutrition and food and mindset and economics. These are things that are a huge deal. And you just want to put all the blame on George Floyd's police officer. Okay, regardless of what type of person he is that the truth? It's not the truth. That's not your biggest problem in New York or in Los Angeles. So we'll see what happens, but I do not feel bad for this Adams guy. It's like, this is what it's like to be a Democrat. You reign over these cities that are like giant slave camps at this point. You're treating people like literal slaves. And I don't say this to be like sarcastic or edgy. Like, if you look up the word enslave in the dictionary, enslavement or enslave, one of the definitions is to lose your freedom of choice or action. So if you're a man, if you're a black man, if you're a black woman, if you're a white man, a white woman, whatever ethnicity you are, and you have certain freedoms, right? And then the government comes in and says, remember the freedom of speech or the Second Amendment, or when you used to be able to breathe air and go into shops and not have to show a passport. Well, you don't have that anymore. We're taking that away. That's literally the definition of enslavement, to take away somebody's choice of freedom or action, okay? And these are not common sense. It's not like thou shalt not steal, that now thou shalt not kill. There's got to be some rules. You have to have discipline, obviously. But these are like, you are not even allowed in this restaurant if you didn't get the big pharma injection every 6 months. And they're doing that to people. So when I say they're like giant slave camps, it's like, that's why I avoid these areas. Crime is rising. Trash is rising. There's homelessness on the rise. The streets are worse than they were 5 years ago. It's not fun. All the fun things to do in LA and New York City are now treating you like an animal. If you don't live in these areas, people forget. You could go to restaurants and people don't bother you. You can go to restaurants and you can see people's faces. You can see like the pretty waitress's face. She said, hey, how you doing? And you're like, oh, I'm great. How are you? When you go to these cities, it's like a giant Black Mirror slave camp. They're like, hey, put the mask on or you're going to get your vaccine passport. And like, how in the world can you be a Black activist group and look at that and be like, you know what the real problem in this city is? It's the police, and it's the fact that we need to burn more things and not address I know Black Lives Matter is starting to catch on to the mandates, and I respect them for that. But at the same point, it's like, when are you going to be honest about these situations? I don't really understand what they're going for, but at this point, I don't care. I don't live there. I don't want to live there. I don't care what they call me. They can make up a fake name and say you're this, that, this. I want to live around people that treat people better. I want to live around people that clean up the streets and don't trash it. I want to live around people that say, hey, how you doing in the morning? Not, I'm going to kill you because I'm in a pissed off mood and I'm going to talk shit to the barista. I've been there. I've lived around there. I've seen both sides of the street. Now that I have the option, I don't want to be anywhere around there, not to visit, not to vacation. So they're building their own little Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's hard to feel bad for a Democrat when their media and their politicians incentivize this type of behavior and reward this type of behavior. And it makes zero sense. At this point, they're getting so sloppy. Okay, let's talk about mandates. First of all, is this vaccine or this therapeutic or this mRNA injection or whatever they want to label it, a vaccine, does it stop you from getting or spreading the virus? It doesn't. Okay, let's go to Vermont. Vermont has like 70 something percent of their people vaccinated, over 80% of adults vaccinated. Is it going away? Oh no, there's record high deaths and cases over the last 2 months. Okay, well, let's go to Singapore. They have over 80% of their entire population, not just adults, entire population vaccinated. That's one of the goals they said in Australia. We want 80% vaccinated. All right, let's go to Singapore. Are they having like no COVID now? No, they're having record amounts of cases and deaths. Same thing. Why? I wonder why. Because the vaccine, according to their own reports, doesn't stop you from getting it or spreading it. So, how in the world is a mandate going to stop COVID when proof all over the world says no matter how high you get your vaccination rate, even if it's 100%, it's not going to stop people from getting or spreading it because it doesn't even claim to do that. Mandates make no scientific sense. Okay. So now, even if mandates did make scientific sense, although they don't, obviously, I just laid it out. So wouldn't they want illegal immigrants to get the vaccine if they want you? How does Black Lives Matter not think about this? They use race to get people to think they're fighting for their people, but they're really hurting and killing your people. For example, how does it help Black people in New York City to know that there's illegal people coming across the border at the South and they have more freedom than you have as a Black man in America, and you have as a white man in America, or you have as a woman in America, or an Asian in America, or a Hispanic in America? They're literally treating you like slaves, prisoners, and abused show animals. And people are marching across the border and they have more freedom than Black people who have had ancestors here for hundreds of years. This is the most racist, evil thing that you could think of. If I was a Black man in America, like, how in the hell do I have less rights than somebody that's coming over illegally across the border? That's messed up. That's what they're doing. They asked Jen Psaki, the press secretary of Joe Biden, and she admitted that they're doing that. So even if the mandate made sense scientifically, why in the world do we, the citizens, have less freedom than people coming across the border? Does anybody ask that? Do people think anymore? Is anybody thinking anymore? I don't think they are. So you have to suffer the consequences of not thinking. You have to suffer the consequences of lying. I would say, as much as it bothers me, I'm blessed and I'm fortunate. I'm grateful. I found a community. My community loves America. My community loves the police, and the police aren't degenerates here. But my community loves their community. My community doesn't like crime. So to be quite honest, I don't care what Portland does. I don't care what Los Angeles does, and I don't care what New York City does. They're lying. They're overtaxing. They're raising crime and taking away people's freedom. What do they think is going to happen? I'm not going to say I don't care, because I do care. But to be honest, it's a sunny day where I'm at. My neighborhood's amazing. I see American flags. I see police flags, and I can smile at the police officers. And you know why? It's because this community is filled with a majority of people who don't want to steal, who don't want to scream at the barista, who don't want to make excuses, and everybody does their thing. And if people don't do that, everybody doesn't blame the police. Everybody looks at the degenerate who's stealing or killing or doing something degenerate and says, we support the police against that. And that does not mean the police are perfect. And that does not mean I obsess over police, but I found a community that acts nothing like New York. And I love every part of it. Everything that liberals do in New York and Black Lives Matter does in New York, we do the opposite. And it works, and it's perfect, and it's beautiful. And nobody cares what ethnicity you are here. Just don't be a complete piece of trash. And I don't envy anything you're doing. So if you want to try that and threaten to burn things down, although it's illegal and you shouldn't be allowed to do that, I just don't care what these people do anymore, because they're raising horrible people. And that's going to be the type of, political segregation that you're going to see in this country. People are naturally going to flock away from, like, smart people are going to flock away from New York City. Smart people are going to flock away from Los Angeles. Smart people are going to go to Florida or go to conservative counties or go to areas where everybody acts normal. And the people that aren't, I don't want to do that, will stay and suffer the consequences of falling for these politicians. And you always have, voting is not perfect, but you have the option to vote in a Republican mayor that's going to get tougher on crime, or, somebody like a Giuliani, although he's not perfect. I think he did a decent job in New York. Or you could just keep voting for the same people and falling for the same tricks and going out into the neighborhood and burning things down when you're upset and you don't get your way. I don't know what these people expect, but we'll see what happens in Kenosha. The media, although they'll act like they're not, they're brainwashing people into thinking that violence and rioting and throwing a fit and destroying businesses in their neighborhood is okay. That's what they're doing. They're justifying it. They're making excuses for it. They're bailing people out when they do it and telling people every single day that Kyle Rittenhouse is the worst thing in the world, and that if this is no justice, and you got to be furious, and you got to be angry, and you're filling these people up with rage and thinking that it's this whole racist thing when it involved all white people. It's like they don't even try to make sense anymore. So we'll see what happens. I have to say that I just don't care that much anymore because I don't live anywhere near them. I saw them burn down LA. I saw them burn down Atlanta. I saw them burn down Kenosha. I saw them burn down Minneapolis. And I'm in a community where they don't get away with that. They tried. I stayed where I'm at now, near there. When all the riots were going on in LA, I went here and I watched how the police and the community came together and they told everybody to go F themselves and kicked them out. And they didn't touch a single business. And it didn't last more than a couple hours. And everybody was right back to normal. No forced masking, none of that. And all the degenerate idiots went back to LA to do their little self-sabotaging, self-deprecating, like burn down small businesses because I hate myself or whatever they pretend to do, or steal the local, shoe store because it's convenient to act like being a thief is cool for a few days or whatever. So it doesn't work when you actually have a community that respects themselves and likes themselves. It doesn't work. And they say, oh, it's so racist. It's so white supremacist. Oh my God, they didn't let us burn their neighborhood down. How racist are they? Oh my God. Like, the only way to not be racist is to let us come into your neighborhood where we don't live and just burn things down. And then the media sits and acts like that is okay. What a joke. They should be ashamed of themselves. Most people are catching on to it now, and we'll see if they still have a mental, mind control over these people to coax them into thinking it's a smart idea to burn down their city and other people's city. It's not. And good luck to Eric Adams of New York getting threatened by Black Lives Matter, a Black Democrat mayor getting threatened with riots and bloodshed by Black Lives Matter because the Black Democrat mayor of New York is not stupid enough to think that, defunding or removing police things is going to be the solution. He knows it's not the solution. I know it's not the solution. I'm not saying police are perfect, but it's like, does any part of your equation include like acting right? Does any part of your, self-reflecting and being like, hey, okay, police can do better, mayor can do better, corporations can do better, but what can we the people do better, right? What can our neighborhood? Oh, nothing? Oh, you guys can't do anything? Oh, it's all the police? Yeah, okay. I don't even know why the police stay in New York. I love New York. I support it, but at a certain point, I think it would be smart. And I'm not suggesting to do this because I'm not a police. I don't have any allegiance to these cities or anything, but it's like, if the people there don't like you, at what point do you just leave? It's like with the pilots, they have a union. It's like, well, you got to do this, this, and this. And it's like, we do? We fly the planes. What do you mean we got to do this? You don't fly the planes. Leave these pilots alone. Like, oh, wear a mask, get a vaccine. You don't fly the freaking plane. Let them do what they want. I don't want all of them getting shot up. It's like, let the ones that want to get it, and let the ones that don't, because they're the real winners in this equation. They fly us around safely and do a great job. I'm sorry, but them wearing a mask or not and them getting a shot is not going to be the make or break on the plane. These people are like wearing down our society. Everything that works, you look at the ocean, there's all these ships out there. It's like nothing works anymore because they don't want to work. It's like, hey, we need lumber. Can you guys cut wood? And they're like, what do you mean by cut wood? And you're like cut the wood, because if we don't have wood, like our society doesn't function. Oh, but did you name the right gender of the wood, bro? It doesn't matter. Just cut the wood because we need wood. Oh, we're not going to work now because the wood was not named properly. It's like, this is like the IQ of these people, or this is like the energy of these people. They don't do anything. It's like, I don't care what gender you consider yourself. Seriously, just go cut the wood. No one cares. Like, okay, it's this. Some people say to me, hey, Anomaly, you look like a girl with long hair. Do I break down and cry and say, I'm not a girl? I need to make it illegal for you to say that. Ban the video on Facebook because someone called me a girl. Like, no, grow up. It's not all about you. These people think it's all about them. Let's ruin the ports. Let's ruin the country. Let's ruin New York City. Let's ruin LA. Let's ruin Netflix. Let's ruin comedy. Let's ruin the Constitution. Let's ruin everything because my feelings are hurt. It's like, who cares? Get over yourself. My gosh. On YouTube, they're like, we're taking away the dislikes because, some people feel bad. Maybe their videos suck. Have you ever been a comedian? Imagine if you were a comedian and you go to the comedy store, right? And everyone's clapping and you're like, yeah, I crushed my set. And every comedian has had to deal with this. People start booing and they're like, boo, like, I don't like that joke. Imagine, hey, stop the show. Stop the show. And it's, and they come back out. They're like, excuse me, there were some people booing Hannah over here, okay? And she's a very funny comedian, okay? We'll tell you who's funny. She's the funniest comedian we've ever seen. So now we're going to remove the audience and we're going to put cardboard boxes in the stands. And then we're going to redo the set, okay? Because there's been too much hate in there. It's like, this is the ideology that these people have. They ruin everything. Michael Jordan lost the game and his mental health is bad. Let's stop the NBA and take away the scoreboard. I mean, you know, Steph Curry missed the three-pointer and he lost the game and he's been really suffering. Let's shut the scoreboard off and let's just estimate. Let's just, hey, everybody wins in the NBA. That's not how the world works. That's why the ports don't work. That's why nothing's working. Stop supporting liberals. Stop voting for Democrats. Republicans are not going to save you. A lot of them are sneaky and they work for big pharma and they just push the Federal Reserve money printing agenda and put on a smile and do the YMCA dance. I'm not saying they're going to save your whole life, but get away from liberals. They don't do anything right. Although I think sometimes conservatives get fooled by politicians, they have the right idea of like how to run a neighborhood. So go around those type of people and your life will get a million times better. That's what I think, but it's up to you. I don't want to tell people where to move, but my life, I lived in LA for 7 years. I equate leaving LA like literally leaving hell. When I left LA, I felt like I was in like a portal to hell at like a shitty demonic concert. And like, once I got away, my life has been 1,000 times better. I was like, I literally feel like I escaped hell. Like, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah. They're like, what if we did everything wrong all the time? Hey, you know how like up is up and down is down, and like regardless of what race you are, you know, like that's up and that's down. I'm like, yeah, that's something we can all agree on. They're like, well, no. Like we used to be able to agree on that, but down is up and up is down. And Harvard said that 1 + 1 might be 3. I mean, who knows? It's like, just stop. You guys are so annoying. Like, I don't even agree with a lot of Republicans, but it's like, just stop doing that. Like liberals, like, what if we just ate bugs and lived in a pod and just got rid of every food that you like? It's like, can we not do that? What if we just put a mask on for the rest of your life? And I want to say this, then I'm going to get to questions. Thank you guys for the super chat. Appreciate you. These mandates, right? I've been talking about this for a while, but like I know somebody that now they're being in January, right? You got to get tested every day or every week. If you don't get the vaccine, you got to be tested. If you do get the vaccine, you still have to wear a mask. They're bringing back more restrictions, right? They promised everybody, millions of people, they promised people, if you get the vaccine, we're going to let you take your mask off. Now that's not true. And the places that's least true are the liberal corporations and the liberal cities that promised you the most. These people that sold you on that are the ones now restricting you. If you go to Montana or you go to a conservative county and you work in a small business, they're not forcing you to do that. It's the liberals that pushed you in this direction that told you this is going to be free. They're the ones giving you the less freedom. Do you notice the trend, people? The more you comply, the more you listen and live around these people, the more they force you. But the point I'm trying to get to is I had conversations with people last April, May, June, and I said, this is not going away. And because everybody has kind-hearted, whether you're Democrat or Republican, most people in America are good people. So they just want to assume this is going to end, right? I feel like that's the vibe I get when I talk to people. Like, this is going to go away in June. Like, this is going to go away in January. This is going to really go away. And it's like, I have a sad thing to tell people. It's not going away. They have no plans for it to go away. And they constantly tell you how it's not going away. It's like, how's it going to go away when now there's more restrictions in January 2022 than there were in January 2021? We're not going in that direction. We're going in the other direction. They are now putting this. You think mass testing is ever going to go away? It's a cash cow. Do you think masks in hospitals are ever going to go away? They're never going to go away. You think masks on airplanes are going to go away? They're never going to go away. You think masks are going to go away in liberal cities? They might never go away. So the point I'm trying to get to is, we're not going in the direction of freedom in this country. We're going in the other direction. So that's what I want to tell people, where it's like, I don't want to tell people what to do medically, because to be honest, I don't really care what you do. It's really, I don't run your life. Maybe some people like getting tested all the time. Maybe it feels good in their brain, and oh yeah, that, like maybe some people get off on that. I don't know. Everybody's got their own thing. So I don't want to tell you what to do. But the point I'm getting to is, Don't ask yourself, and I'm not saying this for any other reason besides it's true. Don't ask yourself, do I want to do this for a week? Do I want to do weekly testing for a month? Ask yourself if you want to do it for the rest of your life, because that's what's going on. Do you want, if they can mandate 2 shots and a booster shot, that's 3, and the booster shot only lasts 2 to 6 months, depending if the J or Pfizer, whatever they say, then they can mandate 3,000. You get what I'm saying? Like, you are now paving the road of where they can go. Before, they couldn't do that. They couldn't dream of getting away with this type of stuff. They tried to in New York and California 2 years ago, and it didn't work. So now you're showing them what to do. We are allowed to give these people this whenever we want, and if we can do it for that product, we can do it for another product. If we could do it for booster shot number 5, we can do it for booster shot number 50. That's what you're showing them. And it's the same with weekly testing. It's not going away. So what I'm trying to say is, you got to make your decision in your head for yourself. But your decision is not, should I get 2 shots to take my mask off, or should I get 3 shots to go back to normal? You have to ask yourself, do I want to get shots for the rest of my life? Do I want to be tested weekly for the rest of my career? Or do I not? And that's the decision you're making. It's not a temporary thing. They're not even pretending that it's temporary. If the testing is coming back in January for a lot of businesses, go ask your boss. I implore you. Ask your boss, hey, okay, we're getting tested. Is this for a couple of weeks, a month, 3 months? Your boss is going to say this. I don't know. We're just doing what we're told. So could this last for 4 years? Oh, no, I don't think so. So do you have an end date? No. Okay. Then ask him this question. And this is what you should be allowed to do to your boss. Ask questions, right? Okay. So if you don't know if there's an end date, there might never be an end date. Is there like a policy reason? Like, are they looking for like 100% vaccination or 90% vaccination? Are they looking for, a case amount, like a local case rate or a national case rate or a county case rate or a state case rate? And your boss will say, oh, I don't know. I'm not really sure. We don't know. Okay. So is there like a death? Are you doing it based on deaths or vaccination rate? Like, is there any sort of metric to this testing policy? Like 15 days to slow the spread, extension past Easter so we can prepare the Javits Center, get your vaccine to take your mask off, get 2 shots. They're not going to admit this, but they were selling it as a cure. A lot of people were saying, we can't wait till there's a vaccine, because once there's a vaccine, there's going to be a cure, and then we can go back to normal. And then a lot of people got the shot thinking, 1, they'd be able to take off their mask, 2, that this was the cure to COVID. And now they're being told that it might never be cured ever. So just go in line and get booster shots every 6 months to a year for the rest of your life, just to suffer from this disease or get slight hospitalization protection from it. It's like, that's not the original idea of what they were telling people. They're not going to admit that, but it's not. So the point I'm getting is, like, at the beginning of the pandemic, they were giving you little like things to like put in front of your face, like a carrot, right? They would be like, hey, do this and we'll give you this. All right. And then they move it away and you're like, okay, well, 15 days. And you're like, oh, no, we're going to extend it to Easter. And you're like, a few more months, because we got to make sure the cases go down. You're like, and then they move it again. You're like, oh, but the deaths, because the death rate's too high. But now the case rate's too high. And you're like, and they're like, but now that the case rate's lower, it could spike again because there's a new Delta variant. And then like, but the vaccines are going to come out next year. And, Trump has to give $10 billion to Big Pharma so they could save your life. And then you'll really go back to normal. Everyone's like, okay. And then it's like, oh, no, but wait, now the vaccine's out. You got to go get the vaccine. You're like, and they're like, but the vaccine's out. But the thing is, not enough people have gotten it yet. So once everybody gets it, then you can go back. You're like, but you got the vaccine. You could take your mask off now. And they're like, there's a Delta variant and, you're getting sick too. So we got to put the mask back on. So they actually used to give you something to look forward to take it away. With this mass testing and these mandates, they're not even pretending to have a carrot anymore. Because at this point, they're just like, these people are stupid. Like, we got them. We don't even have to pretend to give them it. It's like a trap that they're just like, go walk over there. Usually they put like food in the trap to like lure people in, but we're so stupid. They don't even have food in the trap. They're like, just go walk over there. And if you don't walk over there, we're going to steal all your money or something, or take away your job. And people are like, all right, I guess I'll go over there. Maybe if I walk there this time, it'll really work. And it's like, they're not even pretending to have any food in the trap anymore. They're just saying, go to the trap, or else you're going to get in a lot of trouble. But what type of government and what type of corporation and what type of boss do you have if they're telling you, go walk in that trap, We don't even have food there. You just have to do it, or else we're going to threaten to take all your shit away. That's a wicked person. If they're going to do that, what else are they going to do? You're opening Pandora's box of being mistreated. I said this for a reason. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm not anti-pharmacy, or I'm not anti this. These words don't even say, oh, I don't like orange juice, so I'm an anti-juicer. It's like, no, that's not how the world works. There's certain things that work. There have been things like Limericks that they've put on the market and taken off. Everything doesn't work perfectly all the time. Johnson & Johnson knows about recalls, trust me, and baby powder. But the point I'm getting to is like, I'm not anti this or that. It's just like, I don't want to work or be around people that are that abusive, because if they're going to abuse me that much, what else are they going to do? Even if they wiped out all of my bank account, all of my stuff, and they said, Anomaly, if you don't get this shot or you don't get weekly testing, we'll take all your money in your bank account, all of your social media accounts, we'll take everything from you. You know what I would say? I don't care. Take it. I'm not doing it. Why? That's how much dedication I have to this, because we are allowing them this new order of how things work. It's not like you do it to get it back. It's like the more you do, the more they take. So that's all I'm saying to people. I don't like to tell people what to do, because I don't know your history. I don't know your allergies. I don't know your comorbidities. I don't know anything about you, but I appreciate you for being here. I don't tell people what to do, but this is the only thing that I'll say. Don't do weekly testing thinking it's going to last 1 or 2 or 3 months. Ask your boss. Don't believe me. Ask your boss in your corporation, what is the length of this? They don't know. Ask them, what's the metric of this? They don't know. Ask them what it would take. Here's an easy question. What would it take to get rid of mass testing? What, 100% vaccination, zero COVID, lower K, like what is give me one metric. I don't care if it's the craziest thing in the world. We want 160% vaccination rate. I don't care what it is. Give me what it would take to get rid of the testing. I guarantee you your boss is going to say, we don't know. We're just listening. And then you go to his boss and he says, we don't know. They don't know. This is never going away. They don't. Ask your boss, please try this experiment. Ask them when weekly testing is go away. We don't know. Ask them what their metric is. They don't know. Ask them what it would take for it to go away. They don't know. All of this stuff. So don't ask yourself if you want to do it for a couple months. Don't let them take advantage of your kindness and be like, oh, it's just gonna fade away into the sunset because like I'm a good person. Like, no, it's not. I wish it would. Trust me. When I said in March and April, I wrote a song called Bioweapon. It's still on Spotify and stuff, Anomaly Bioweapon. In the song, I was talking about socialism and communism and how this wasn't going away. And that was a risk, because when I'm making a song like that, it could be like, yo, this didn't age well. We got all our freedom back in 2 weeks. But I made that song early in April and it's aged beautifully. Sadly, it sucks, but I kind of knew it would. That's why I made the song. I try to make timeless music and timeless videos that make sense in the future, not just in the present moment. But it's like, yeah, this is what's going on. It's 2 years of 15 days to slow the spread. So don't ask yourself if I should temporarily do this to keep my stuff. Ask yourself if you want to do it forever. And I feel like this is the game that I've been playing I can't tell everybody else's story, but for me, I saw what LA was doing. I see how they're operating. And I told myself, you know what? This is past the point of living around these people. I don't have kids and people in the school system and a huge allegiance to that city. God bless LA, but I wasn't born there. So the point I'm saying is I saw what they were doing and I said, I don't want to be around these people. I don't believe what they believe. I want to get in a community of people who believe what I believe and are willing to stand up to medical tyranny. And I did that, and it was the smartest decision I made. Now I don't really care what they do, because it's like misery loves company. And if they want to suck themselves into this wicked hellhole, God bless the good souls there. But I made the decision to leave them, and I don't really care what they do now. So, for everybody, it's like this is like this hell loop that they got everybody stuck in. Do this every week, do this every month, do this to work there. Not everybody can afford to do everything, but the smartest thing I did is I saw the looping and looping and looping, and I said to myself, you know what? And stood to the side. And now they're still looping. It's been 1.5 years of them looping, and I've had a year of body surfing, enjoying myself, growing my business, having way less stress because I don't live in a degenerate, declining, failing city like Hollywood. And that's how I did it. Because there's a loop that they got everybody in, and everybody's like, well, what if I lose this? But what if I lose that? But what if this? And I trust me, I understand life is difficult, but the greatest thing I personally ever did was just get away. And now they're looping and looping. And I care a lot less because I'm more interested in my own personal workout routine and friends and family and what I want to do. I identify that they don't have a plan to stop and I'm away from them. And I don't care what it costs or what it takes. I'm not stepping back in that hell loop because I praise the Lord. And, I know that God has me. So, if they want to take everything away and banish me to the mountains, let's just say I read a book called the Bible and I've read chapters in the Bible and it talks about that. So it's not shocking to me. Like I would not be surprised if they said, Anomaly, you can't live here. You have to go to the mountains. I'm like, well, luckily I read that chapter in 2020. So I'll see, I'll take care. Have a good one though. Enjoy this little thing that you guys are building. Like I'll see you. And they're like, but what if you go to the mountains and die? And what if you can't? I'm like, I don't care. That's better. It sounds better than being around these psychopaths. So, have a good one. Enjoy this little like satanic loop that you guys are caught. Like, that's just how I feel. That's how dedicated I am to not joining these people. So I know it's costly for certain people. I know it's easier for others, but I don't know, man. I hate being around people that treat me like shit. Like even when they were doing put this on. It's no way to live. I haven't had to deal with that. Not a single person has said anything to me for the past 5 months. Put a mask on, get a vaccine. No one does that in my community. So like, I can't do it. It's not healthy to be in LA. You're getting yelled at. They're doing all this. It's like, it's a hell loop. I want no part of it. I don't care what it costs. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate y'all. God bless you. I might only stay for a few more minutes. You know what? Let's just end it like that. I'll come back. I'll talk to everybody. I'll chat. I appreciate y'all. We have like 3,000 people here. Maybe I'll stay for 4 more minutes, but I do want to say this. If you want to stay in touch with me, I have an email list. It's stayintouchwithme.com. Go to stayintouchwithme.com and you can go to my free email list. I have a Telegram. That's the best way to get updates. I don't spam. I don't tell you how I'm feeling all the time. I do that on Twitter. If you want to see me being annoying and talking too much, go follow me on Twitter at Legendary Energy. If you say I like Anomaly, but he tweets too much, I agree. Then just go to my Telegram. I don't spam. It's not daily, like, how I feel inside. I just post my videos anytime I have a new video, and I post my live streams 10 minutes before when I have a live stream. So it's Telegram. t.me/dreamrarechat on Telegram. It's t.me/dreamrarechat. If you type that in, and Dreamrare is DREAM, dream, and rare is RARE. That's how you find me on Telegram. Or you could just search Dream Rare Chat, all one word. Just at Dream Rare Chat on Telegram, you can find me. And I only post my videos and I only post my live streams right before I go live. If you want an update, because I'm spontaneous, I apologize. I don't know when I go live. I just kind of do it. So that's how you find it. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Rumble. I'm all over the place. But that's what it is. I'll stay for a few more. 47 minutes. I want to get out here by 49. So I'll try to answer like a couple questions. Let's see. Someone said you're losing power all over the planet. Deal with it. It's a sour grape attitude, but I hear you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Someone said Anomaly live in the fundemic. I'm trying to. I have bad days as well, but I'm trying to have fun. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it. Thank you, Fadista. Thank you, DJ. Someone said be a carpenter. Yeah, that's definitely a power play. I've chopped wood before. It's not easy. And being like a carpenter nowadays, you got to also understand like not just the old ways with the axe, but you got to know how to use the machinery or else you're not going to make it in that profession. Appreciate y'all. I'm going to keep it short because I don't want people to look and be like, oh my God, he was live for 2 hours. I'll be like, you know what? We'll keep it brief. Hopefully people can watch this. God bless you. God bless New York City. God bless Kenosha. And I pray that people don't keep burning down their cities because they could lie. There's going to be media liars, etc. But it's not going to make your neighborhood better. It's not going to make race relations better. It's not going to help the Black movement in America. It's certainly not going to help small businesses that are getting beaten down by the government. And what these political parties do, there's certain things that they just don't do. So they love when people fight. They love the black and white. They love that whole like, oh my God, he's a white kid and this cop was this guy. I'm not saying everybody's going to be a good person, but once you start making those sort of things and like There's people called the Federal Reserve. There's people called Big Pharma. There's people that are billionaires that lobby both sides of politics. And it's like they don't care if you fight in the streets. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but when Proud Boys fight Antifa in the streets, like no big, real world movers like, oh man, they're really threatening. They love that type of stuff because like it takes notice away from all the things like taxes and mandates that they're putting on all people. So be smart, folks. Have a good day, and I'm out. I'm gonna end it quick.